On BBC One now, here's the look for Saturday evening. At 7:20, there's a rollover jackpot estimated at £13 million in the National Lottery Big Ticket. Rain doesn't stop play for the team at City Central at 8:10.
It's typical. Nothing all day, then 5 minutes to go and the city goes crazy.
Then...
I'm coming, Timmy. It's time for you to know who your real mother is.
The woman destroyed my life once already. I just want you to know that she's out there.
A family's world is under threat in the 9 o'clock movie Terror in the Shadows. That's the lineup for Saturday evening over on BBC One.
Well, because of the changes to the schedule this afternoon here on BBC Two, The Man from Snowy River will now be shown in 2 weeks' time, on the 30th of May at 5:20.
I'm not the man that you think I am. But the higher I go, the crookeder it becomes. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. Killing each other for money, for pride, for family. Am I a gangster? It was not what I wanted!
The Godfather Part 3, tonight at 9.
That's the price you pay.
On BBC Two.
Behind the scenes with the political puppet makers of Boris Yeltsin's Russia. Correspondent in 15 minutes. Now on BBC Two, the news and sport with Maurice Stewart and Helen Rollison.
World leaders have given their backing to the Northern Ireland peace deal. At their G8 summit in Staffordshire, they say the Good Friday Agreement deserves the widest possible support. A leading Sinn Féin member and his son are shot at a Dublin church service. And Arsenal complete the double for the second time. They beat Newcastle 2-0 in the FA Cup final. Good evening. World leaders attending the G8 summit have given the Northern Ireland peace deal their full endorsement. They've issued a statement calling for its widest possible support as a basis for prosperity as well as peace.
The armour-plated limousines headed out into the Staffordshire countryside. To Weston Park, an 18th century manor house, a peaceful setting for global problems and discussions about the environment, unemployment and international crime. But for Tony Blair, one subject is paramount at the moment, Northern Ireland, and concerned that unionists may turn their back on the chance of peace in Friday's referendum.
The other leaders will agree with the statement not merely welcoming the peace process, but many of them are indicating that they would like to make it clear how much they believe the prospects of investment and prosperity for Northern Ireland would increase and improve dramatically if the peace process takes root.
Northern Ireland has never before been a subject of such importance at one of these meetings, and the summit threw its weight fully behind the Prime Minister.
Right, come on, guys, let's go. Hey, go.
Aside from the leaders' agreement on Northern Ireland, there was one other subject on which the British delegation was particularly keen to make progress, a proposal to alleviate some third world debt. To underline the problem, 50,000 people gathered in the centre of Birmingham to form a 7-mile-long human chain right around the area containing the G8 conference centre. It was a noisy, good-natured protest supported by senior churchmen and a cabinet minister.
Debt relief should be linked to governments that are serious about cutting poverty, and then you back those governments and give them debt relief.
Mr. Blair has been determined to show that summits like this really can make a difference. That's why he's concentrated on action plans for things like fighting international crime and third world debt. But above all, tonight, he will be hoping that the G8 declaration on Northern Ireland, with its unequivocal support for the Good Friday Peace Agreement, will make a difference when it comes to Friday's referendum. Nicholas Mitchell, BBC News, Birmingham.
A prominent Sinn Féin member and his son have been shot and injured at a church in Dublin packed with young children. The gunman opened fire as 7- and 8-year-olds were preparing for their first Holy Communion.
60 children were receiving their first communion in St Joseph's Church in Ballymun, watched by a congregation of several hundred relatives and friends. They included leading Sinn Féin figure Larry O'Toole, whose granddaughter Laura was among the children at the altar rail. The gunman walked in, singled out Mr O'Toole and shot him in the back.
So the man just walked straight up to him, pointed the gun and said, "You're dead," and shot. And we shot once, and the man went down, like on his side, and he shot again, and he got him in the back.
He was lying on the ground, and he was sui compass. He was quite aware of what was going on around him. He asked, was his granddaughter all right?
The man fired another 2 shots in the air before running out of the church, pursued by worshippers. In the ensuing scuffle, Mr. O'Toole's son was shot in the chest. A gun and a knife were recovered at the scene, and a man is being questioned at Ballymun police station. Mr. O'Toole and his son, also called Larry, are being treated in hospital, where their condition is said to be stable and not life-threatening. Larry O'Toole is a prominent member of Sinn Féin in Dublin, a leading anti-drugs campaigner who stood for his party in last year's Irish general election. Sinn Féin President Gerry Adams described the shooting as a very worrying development, but there's no suggestion at this stage that the attack was politically motivated. Linda Duffin, BBC News, Dublin.
Thousands of foreign nationals are fleeing Indonesia after a week of rioting which has left 500 people dead. America and Japan are among the countries to have chartered extra planes to evacuate their citizens. President Suharto has ordered a cabinet reshuffle in an effort to put an end to the violence.
Indonesia's revolution has taken the weekend off, leaving a city still stunned by its own violence. Those whose shops and homes were ransacked picked through the rubble to salvage what they could. The sacking of Jakarta has left a city without shops and food, a return to the dark ages that took only 2 days. At this morgue, they were still grieving for loved ones. Almost 200 burned to death yesterday when a department store was set ablaze by looters. This morning, they found another 150 in the store's basement. Back at work and trying to be back in charge, President Suharto's solution for saving his regime from extinction and his country from anarchy was a cabinet reshuffle. At the airport, the rush to leave before it's too late. Thousands of people, mainly expatriates, try to board commercial flights that were hopelessly overbooked. These British families wanted to get on a flight to Singapore after being trapped in the anarchy.
We haven't stayed the night at the school because we tried to get out of the building the first time, and down by the mall there were some people who looked rather angry, so we turned back.
While Britain and other countries have chartered planes to evacuate their nationals, these people have nowhere to go but every reason to leave. Indonesia's ethnic Chinese, persecuted by the mob for their wealth, now refugees in their own country.
The exodus has started. It's time to go. But these people here represent nothing more than a trickle compared to the tens of millions of Indonesians who will head for safer shores in the region should this country disintegrate further into anarchy. Matt Fry, BBC News, Jakarta International Airport.
Pakistan's foreign minister says it's almost certain his country will conduct a nuclear test. His comments follow widespread condemnation of India after its 5 nuclear tests last week.
Pakistan wants the international community to be much tougher against India than it's been so far. While the Americans were here, particularly as they met the Prime Minister, Nawaz Sharif, the word on a Pakistan test was no haste, and that the government here wasn't interested in anything that would be seen as a tit-for-tat response. But today, Pakistan's foreign minister wanted to ensure no one thought his government had gone soft on the issue of testing.
It's just a matter of timing that the government of Pakistan would choose as to when to conduct the test.
So you seem to be saying that a test is likely, it's just a question of when you conduct it?
That's it.
A test is certain?
It is very close to certain. The timing is our choice.
In all of this, Pakistan is clear about one thing. It wants to see not just what kind of punitive measures continue to be taken by the international community against India, but how long they last. Pakistan's concern is that for all the anguish over the Indian testing, this is a crisis that could quickly evaporate as the world's agenda moves on. Mike Woodridge, BBC News, Islamabad.
Up to 500 basking sharks have been sighted off the Cornish coast. The sharks, which can be up to 35 feet long, are harmless to humans. Their main diet is plankton. They're now an endangered species, and conservationists say this is the largest number of basking sharks seen in the area for many years. Music stores across Britain and America say there's been a massive demand for Frank Sinatra records since his death was announced yesterday. And Sinatra's home in Los Angeles has been inundated with tributes and flowers.
lit up blue in tribute to old Blue Eyes, New York's Empire State Building says farewell as millions of Americans still come to terms with the death of Frank Sinatra. Longtime friends like Shirley MacLaine almost lost for words.
We've lost something so extraordinary that I can't even discuss it.
And from the last survivor of the so-called Rat Pack, Sinatra's closest group of friends, a nostalgic look back at times of wild excess.
Everybody envied us. We're having fun. We're getting paid fabulous amounts of money. Broads, booze.
The funeral is to be held in private. The family is still said to be feuding over an estate valued at more than $200 million. In death, as in life, Sinatra continues to make money in America and in British high streets. Throughout the day, stores have been stocking up the shelves, anticipating a rush of fans.
You could put a song over Swing. I really like him.
I'm quite sad, actually, you know, even though you don't know the man. I'm amazed it's made me feel that way.
In his lifetime, Frank Sinatra sold more than 600 million records. Now his fans are paying tribute at record store cash tills, buying their last memento of a music legend. Daniel Bircher, BBC News, Central London.
Sport now, and with historic cup wins for Arsenal and Hearts and the rest of the day's news, Helen Rollison.
Thanks, Moira. Arsenal have repeated their double triumph of 1971 and won the FA Cup at Wembley to add to the Premiership title. They beat Newcastle 2-0 with a goal in each half to complete a superb season.
For Arsenal fans, winning the Cup would crown an already glorious season. Newcastle supporters travelled from the northeast, knowing this was their last chance of salvaging theirs.
Some of the players will already have half an eye on the even bigger stage of the World Cup. But for the two clubs and their supporters, the FA Cup final remains the climax to the season.
Both sides have a distinguished history in the Cup. Sadly for Arsenal, Dennis Bergkamp missed this final through injury, an absence keenly felt in the 20th minute when Nicolas Anelka fluffed a wonderful chance. But Arsenal were much the classier side, and it was only 3 minutes before Overmars got the better of Pistone to put the Londoners deservedly ahead. A frustrating first half for Newcastle ended with a yellow card for Alan Shearer after a less than friendly encounter with his old England teammate Tony Adams. Newcastle made more of a contest of it in the second half. Shearer, taking advantage of Keown's stumble, couldn't have done much better with the shot. But the Cup was destined to stay in London when Anelka slipped the Newcastle defence to put Arsenal 2-0 ahead. Suspicions of offside did not appear to be confirmed by the replay. Both of English football's top prizes have now been claimed by Arsene Wenger in only his second season at Highbury. Ominously for the rest of the Premiership, he says his revolution has only just begun. Arsenal have now emulated Manchester United as only the second English club to do the double twice. A long-term challenge to their supremacy is sure to follow. Neil Bennett, BBC News at Wembley.
And Hearts have lifted the Tennent's Scottish Cup for the first time since 1956 after beating Rangers 2-1 at Celtic Park. A penalty in the first minute gave Hearts a dream start, and the Tynecastle side put up a determined performance to hold off the favourites.
In the East End of Glasgow, Walter Smith's final game in charge of Rangers did not begin well. Just 30 seconds gone and Steve Fulton was down in the box. When Andy Gorham jumped in the opposite direction, Colin Cameron had given Hearts an extremely early advantage. But Rangers' generosity didn't stop there. More slack defending made it 2-0.
So it's a run, it's a down! Step on it down for Hearts!
Rangers looked out of it, but with 9 minutes left as a Rangers striker, Ali McCoist wasn't about to give up. But it was all in vain. Scotland's manager of the season was rewarded with a trophy and much male bonding.
Well, it's 40 years, and I said to the players, it could be the greatest day of our lives, and now it's going to be.
With Gough, Gorham and McCoist all on their way, the Rangers veterans had to be content with the memories. Their fans didn't hang around for the presentation, which ended a 42-year wait for Hearts. The supporters now have to think of a new title for the fanzine, with a moment called Always the Bridesmaid. Nigel Gainsborough, BBC News.
In golf, Colin Montgomery and Darren Clarke share the lead at the Benson & Hedges International Open with the Italian Massimo Florioli after the third round at the Oxfordshire. Clarke, who hasn't won a tournament for 19 months, moved to 10 under par for the week with a round of 67. He's level with his Ryder Cup teammate Colin Montgomery, whose score of 69 included this birdie at the 6th. South Africa have beaten Worcestershire by 89 runs in an exciting finish to the tour match at New Road. South Africa took the final Worcestershire wicket in the last over of the match. Daryl Cullinan took the catch off the bowling of Paul Adams. The tourists play their first one-day game against England on Thursday. And tennis news, Alberto Costa will meet Marcelo Rios in the final of the Italian Open. In the German Open, Conchita Martinez plays 18-year-old qualifier Amélie Marismo in tomorrow's final. Moira.
That's it from us. The news and sport on BBC One tonight, 10:30.
Tony Blair and Bill Clinton are on Breakfast with Frost tomorrow at 8:30 on BBC One.
Hello. Well, many of you may have headed to the beaches today, and why not? It was gloriously sunny, but